Hello everyone, HazzaJC here and welcome back to my channel. It is VCT EMEA playoffs time, and for that reason, you join me from my hotel room in Berlin. This is some content a little out of the usual, but I felt that you all deserved a video for your patience. It's been 2 months since I last uploaded, but I'm taking the opportunity to go over who I think is going to qualify to Champs, Barcelona, more importantly in our top 4 for VCT EMEA Stage 2. The reason why I'm here is because I have been commentating on the stage for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I've been stuck out in Germany for better or for worse. Obviously, it's been great to get to commentate so many matches, but it's been a lot of matches at the same time. So a lot of work for me. This is where you join us, or where you join us from, the play-in stage. This is how the bracket ended up, our qualified teams. Foot, Enterprise, Eintracht Frankfurt, and Fireflux Esports. Notably, 3 Challengers teams out of a possible 4. Job Life falling short of the final hurdle and obviously self-cannibalizing one of the Challengers teams there, Fireflux Esports. Let's go over it really quickly and talk about what happened, what stood out to me most, what I was surprised by, and who's caught my interest heading into the playoff stage before we move on to my predictions. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below who you think we're going to see move forward in this one. But let's get stuck into it. So, in terms of the play-ins and the teams that managed to get through, first of all, I think Foot have looked pretty good coming out of Masters London. First official against Na'Vi, which we saw from them in groups, was shaky, but they course corrected. They looked good enough, and despite that extra loss along the way, which put them in this position, yeah, they've been a decent team, and I think they did well to avoid a lot of these tier 2 teams actually in their run through the top side of the bracket. Of course, if you qualify through the lower bracket, when we get onto playoffs in a little bit, you don't get that second life back. It's really cutthroat. But moving onwards, Enterprise, the next team to go through. I don't think this is too much of a surprise for most people who've been following tier 2 with a keen eye. In terms of the teams that they faced, the most difficult challenge they had realistically was Fireflux in this upper round. Fnatic absolutely off the pace, and Gentlemates with changes into the play-in stage, bringing in Hyber. Obviously a big talking point from their perspective. So yeah, it's just a case of like the momentum coming in, teams in tier 1 maybe not having the best of years, making changes to try and get stuff happening, whereas Enterprise have kept a consistent core of 4 at least. All the way up until stage 3 this year, where they swapped out Prox. So that was an interesting game as well for those reasons. Then moving on, Eintracht Frankfurt. I think this one surprised me the most, to be honest. I have consistently doubted this team. They have the ability. They have great scrim bucks. Everyone's been saying they've been dominating in scrims. Maybe that hasn't translated into officials. And I think we kind of saw that, at least from this opening game, right? Against Giant X, that first map looked really shaky, but the reset... the reset into the following series was when things then started to get better for them. They nearly closed out on that final map there as well. GX, in my mind, though, still being one of the bottom 2 teams, really, that we saw this stage. But yeah, absolutely, the turnaround's been insane, beating a wounded Heretics there as well, who now have to rely on points to qualify. Jamelinho coming in what is realistically his rookie year as a professional, right? He only had his first official recorded at the back end of 2025, so to see the journey he's been on has been, absolutely fantastic. Big level ups individually as well. Super exciting team, and they get to bring the German crowd to the Riot Games Arena, so that's going to be sick. Final team then, Fireflux Esports, formerly known as Reborn. They got announced to be signed literally the day that this draw was made for the play-ins bracket coming out of the group stage. And they've really impressed me as well. Batu's in-game leadership's looking pretty solid, but otherwise it's more about the micro of this team, their consistent willingness to fight, some of the individuals that they've had. Deadink, a couple of off moments, I think, in this Job Life game specifically, but his partnership with Kachao, super exciting. Really, really sharp players. An interesting 1-2 punch where, it's not the Neon going in first a lot of the time. You've got the Waylay Neon. They're kind of running it back on that, at least like their split comp, for example. Yeah, really exciting team. Plenty of firepower. Incredibly young players as well. Kachao's, of course, only 16. Returning faces in Reezy too. Plenty to, look forward to for these guys as well. To quickly touch on the teams that did end up crashing out, though. I think we can start with Gentlemates. Yeah, they made a change. Bippo leaving the team, where he had been there for quite a while, sort of like an unsung hero in a way, because he never got the numbers. He was the kind of guy who, when they were playing double duelist, he's going straight in and Martin's playing spoiler, or sort of, playing closer off the back of him. Pretty selfless role. Moved on to Sentinel, Mini in as the duelist instead of picking another duelist up, or even putting Hyber on the duelist, because that was the change that they made. They put him on Sentinel. Didn't look too comfortable, did his best, and actually in terms of like raw performance wasn't the worst. But yeah, a really confusing year for them, I think, after Santiago, and plenty to be done heading into 2027. Na'Vi next up. Just couldn't find a 4th and 5th that were good enough for them, to be honest. I think Sivov showed signs of potential. Exit at points looked really, really good, but just the amount of first deaths given away by him, I think at times really sold him short. The team environment not fully built, maybe, but that core of Ruxic and Hero and Clorix IGLing, just with a few more tweaks, I think is going to be super, super good heading into next year if he wants to stay in EMEA. But yeah, just not fully figuring that bigger picture out when there's so much potential there. Pacific, I can't really say too much on it. Slow motion car crash. Had to rebuild the roster from the ground up after losing the BBL team from last year. Super unfortunate situation for them. Waddle coming in was a huge boost. I think the comms, how vocal he was, really leveled them up. But again, just not closing out maps and an invisible brick wall in front of them the whole time, really. They'll go down as the worst team in the partnership era, but were they actually that terrible? I'll leave that for you all to decide. GX, yeah, just again, another team that was sort of had their hand forced in terms of making changes. It was Cloud for them, right? Because Fnatic ended up taking him, and we'll move on to how that panned out in just a bit. But yeah, losing out on him, deciding to sign Music, a Turkish player, which historically has been difficult to do because of visa issues. Also not working, not able to bring him to that environment. Net looking pretty good, very talkative guy. Saw that from some of the post plants and deaths that he did. But yeah, just not having loads of time to gel. I think Jesse's another player that they brought in with, huge potential and actually kind of lived up to that a little bit. Also from that Twisted Minds team that Exit came from, of course. But the sort of overarching thing for me there is, yeah, just not really enough time for them to fully get a working system, and sort of unfortunate for some of the players on that team, like, Westside, Flickless, Ara, the comms looking really messy on the listenings. But yeah, see where they go for next year, honestly. Have no idea. Felt like they finally got that winning solution for champs last time around, and that's sort of been scrapped towards the back end here, as the meta's never really been nice for them this year. Speaking of metas not being so nice, Fnatic struggling, not playing double initiator. Cloud coming in, that's sort of twisted the roles a bit. They went for the Project Hail Mary, switch up, put Crashies on Anchor. I actually really liked how he performed on some of the maps. I think the Breeze game for Job Life was, not great. Job Life sort of dominated that series where they got eliminated in the end. But Crashies did show that how flexible he is across multiple roles. Some of his lurks, like I was saying, and yeah, just in terms of being a vocal guy, someone who can lead as a second caller in the team as well, just great. For Cloud, trying to bring some ideas to the table, not always being committed to. Boaster going very heavy on the micro because the comps aren't, to his liking. It was all just a bit chaotic in the end, and I think this has just been the worst year in Fnatic's history, unfortunately for them. No champs this time around. Tough way to go out. Heretics on the other side, could they make it to champs still? Maybe on points. It's looking pretty rough though. In terms of what's gone wrong with this team, feels like they never were able to fully replace Miniboo, I suppose, and actually not having Neil Zenio in part of the setup for me was probably the biggest difference. You could see how integral he was to that stage 1 run and them actually qualifying to London, with being able to bring them back from the brink when they had slow starts. Just such an emotional leader within the team from some of the content they put out on socials, and yeah, just lacking that spark a little bit, I think, for me. Still, Koshmaris, fantastic player, of course, and we've already seen in the recent days that Rians and Benji have re-signed with the organization for next year. So see how that goes and sort of what they want to try and build around. But I mean, it's another historic core within the region that gets dumped out, and just struggling to find those solutions, I suppose. That's really it for a lot of these tier 1 teams, not having that success in this meta, whereas all of the challengers rosters have had a whole year to play through and iron out some of those issues, and they are the best of the best for a reason, right? Final couple of rosters that ended up falling out here. Eternal Fire, their group stage performance, incredibly weak. Spear has such a high skill ceiling, but feels like they were missing out. And a little bit of extra experience with Izzy, also a very vocal guy. Yeah, it's not been the worst of debut years for them in Tier 1, though, so I don't think you can complain too much, but an international event would have been the cherry on top. Masters London, their best opportunity at that. And Job Life can be incredibly proud of the run that they managed to make. The most experienced of the Challengers teams coming into this one. I liked Unfake's calling for what it's worth. Kamek, Doma having their moments. Pays stepping in, I thought was awesome. Runner really leveled up in terms of his performances when you consider how he was looking at Challengers this year. This was a team that was one loss away from going into promotion relegation and maybe having to play through LCQ, for example. They were one game away from making it to playoffs in VCT EMEA. I don't think you can ever be upset with how this has ended up, but obviously just getting so close and then losing out to another Turkish team, as they've not been able to beat Reborn once, and obviously this the 4th defeat to the roster, as it's Fireflux under the branding this time around. There you go. There's the synopsis for play-ins. Obviously, you could skip ahead to this part of the video if you just want to see what my picks are. So let's get on to playoffs and who it is that we've got here. A reminder for the EMEA standings, the championship points currently. Your top 4 is Vitality, Foot, Heretics, and BBL. All of these teams have been to global events so far this year. Liquid, of course, went to Santiago as well, but they're just sitting on the outside right now. So these are all the teams that can qualify for points. And then KC, obviously, just what a turnaround from them, right? It's been a ridiculous turnaround this stage, but they seem to have found a solution for themselves. So is it going to be enough? Let's dive into the picks and let's try and make it a little quick, because I know that I've already eaten into quite a bit of time here. Into the bracket, starting off with Liquid versus Foot. There's two ways to look at this. Liquid have had almost 20 days to prepare for this one since the end of groups. Foot, on the other hand, coming off the back of momentum. When we look at global events in the past, typically the team from groups with the momentum is favoured. And in terms of, team performances so far, who I'm more convinced with, if Sop shows up, I think he can completely take over. I'm probably going to lean more towards Foot on this one, which sets up a electric Turkish derby in the upper semi-finals. Of course, one more win from here and you get to Barcelona, but I think that's where I'm leaning right now. Of course, Liquid could come in with loads of anti. They've got so much tape on Foot. We know that they're a very anti-heavy team at times, so it kind of depends which way they lean with that. That's how I see that game going. Vitality versus Enterprise. Two teams cut from a similar cloth. I mean, there's so much overlap in terms of team history here between the coaching staff and the players as well. But I almost want to say that I think Team Vitality probably edged this one out. They look like the best team from the region so far this year, the most consistent, I suppose, in my eyes. Enterprise are a fantastic roster, and they're on a 6-map win streak. So if Team Vitality start slow, or at least don't find a way to reset as they've been able to, this one can very quickly get scary. I am going to go with Vitality, though. I feel a little bit more confident in them. Lower bracket, Liquid versus Eintracht. I'm going to go momentum again, man. I've doubted Frankfurt so many times in the past, but if Liquid lose this first game, this is a team which mentally sometimes have been a little dubious for me. And Frankfurt, with the home crowd, the fans, the Manhattan Eagles there, I just want to believe in the run. I really want to believe in this run. So I'm actually going to go with Frankfurt. If you disagree with me, let me know, of course. But that's where I'm headed for this one. Such a horrible game in the lowers here for Fireflux, having beaten Enterprise already one time. I don't know, the VLR bracket might be wrong here, guys. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes this bracket is just straight up incorrect. So maybe it's the opposite way around. Like, if Eintracht have to play against Enterprise, I think Enterprise win that. So look, if this is wrong, whatever, VLR sucks, who knows. I'm going to go with this one, though. I'm going to go with Enterprise. So unlucky for Fireflux. Repeat matchup is what it is. That's how it goes. Back into the upper semis, though. BBL versus Foot. It's tough. It's really tough. They've already faced each other once. Felt like BBL missed a lot of opportunities in that one. Got ecoed a few times by Foot. Foot in the derby have struggled a lot. That was their first win, I think, since 2024 in the fixture when we casted it. Ended up on Sunset. Close, but again, shouldn't have been that close. Foot do look fantastic. I think they're going to be the upper final team for me. I'm going to continue to back the stocks here. It's been a great turnaround from them. And I mean, what an upper final it would be if KC and Foot were there. If you remember, these were two basically winless teams, if I'm not mistaken, in the start of this year. It was Foot that went to Clash, though, and I think, yeah, KC might have got one somewhere. Yeah, insane. I want to go with Vitality, though. If Vitality win this game, they win this game. Do you know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing with Foot in this situation, in my eyes at least. Sort of difficult to toss up. I've got one team coming from play-ins, one team that had already qualified as a higher seed. But yeah, both of the seed 1 teams losing. I don't know about that one. I mean, KC do actually look pretty damn good, to be honest. I've really been liking their use of the chamber a lot as well. They're a team with a lot of potential. Do I want to write them off this quickly? Who knows, man. Levin's been on an absolute heater as well. So, I mean, there's every chance they could drop them down the bracket here. But this is the way that we're going with it. It's pick'ems, it's predictions, it's whatever, man. I'm just giving my opinion and giving you some information so you can make your own decisions. Never trust what I say. Come on. Lower bracket, KC then against Frankfurt. Man, Frankfurt to Barcelona was story it would be. I don't even care. I think KC would be favoured in this game, as Liquid would as well. Frankfurt, you know, they need to keep up in a lot of aspects. Monsters look great. Azuri has reached new heights in his career as a player. You're asking so much of them to get this far, but look, belief is everything, right? And that's what we go for. So Frankfurt continue there for me, I think. BBL versus Enterprise. Would we really get Enterprise versus Frankfurt here, or are BBL going to be enough to beat them? It's tough to say, and I mean, this would be a great matchup as well. Tier 2 from the previous year against the current best, you know what I mean? I would probably lean towards Enterprise, though. If I had to pick out of the teams, I think Enterprise, again, they'd just be able to carry on where they've been. And now, at the same time, do I have more concerns probably about like Vitality in this upper bracket? Because sometimes they do just switch off, maybe. And look, they have the safety net of points. They are top in the points count right now. And yeah, 1 win gets you 1 point in this. They're probably not going to need too much to be secure and safe in the knowledge that they get through on that metric. Unless, obviously, you know, we get like a KC or something pop up. But yeah, I guess we go with Enterprise. Here, Enterprise then against Frankfurt. It's probably Enterprise for me. I don't think that Frankfurt would then be in a position to win this one. I think Enterprise probably just edged that out a little bit. Upper final, Foot versus Vitality. Seen this one a few times already. Vitality seem to have their number. I think you go Vitality there. And then this one would be crazy. I think Foot and Vitality, well, obviously Vitality would already have champs in the bag by then. Foot probably as well. Enterprise into a best of 5. They win this, they go to Shanghai. How crazy would that be? I don't feel like that's impossible, though. Foot are a great team, but Enterprise would be playing for so much here. Huge stage, a lot of pressure. Foot may be a little bit more resistant to that. Let's go Enterprise. And yeah, Vitality to bring it home on Barcelona soil. On the sandy shores, shall we say. Yeah, this is my bracket. I think maybe this could look a little different. Are Liquid going to do the stage 2 thing of moving through here? KC as well. I've kind of underrated these teams quite heavily from Group Omega, was it? I'm trying to remember which of the groups we had them in. Yeah, the Group Omega teams. Maybe underrating them a little too heavily here. That's my bracket. That's what I'm going to go with. Hope you all enjoy this little bit of extra content from me. Let me know if you want to see more like this, predictions-wise. I'm definitely going to try and get a vlog out of my experience from playoffs into Barcelona, all of that good stuff to keep you all in the loop because you deserve it. Look, it's been too long, guys, and on the road to Champs Shanghai, I want to make sure that I'm here with you and delivering on all fronts. Hope you enjoy the commentary as well, because I will see you all on the cast. Much love, and catch you then. Bye-bye.